Here's 5 tips to help you get better skin tones in your headshots and portraits. What's up, everyone? My name is Pete. I'm a portrait photographer based in New York. Today I want to talk to you about getting proper skin tones and proper white balance in your photos. One of the most common mistakes I see photographers make, especially early on, newbie photographers, or even some of us with experience, is that in our headshots and our portraits, the skin tones are completely off. And this is something you really need to deal with and be able to dial in and do properly if you want to create higher end work and work with the clients that you want to work with. So today I want to give you 5 tips to do just that. If you like this video, hit the subscribe, like, share, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and definitely let me know some tips you might have for getting better skin tones in your photos. Number 1, shoot manual white balance. Here's the problem, especially if you're shooting in a controlled studio environment. If your camera is set to auto white balance, even if the lights and nothing else changes, your settings stay the same, if you move your camera and shoot from a different angle, your camera is going to shift the white balance. So if you shoot in auto white balance from one photo to the next, you're going to get variations in the white balance, which means every photo you create is going to have a different color cast. So the most important piece of advice I can give you in a controlled studio setting, shoot in manual white balance. So that means go inside your camera's menu and you want to set the Kelvin manually. Don't let the camera pick that for you, because the camera is only going to guesstimate and you don't want a whole gallery of images with different color casts. And that leads me to number 2. Don't assume that 5600 Kelvin is the correct setting in your camera. So most lights are daylight balanced. So that means if you buy a flash, it's going to be set to 5600 Kelvin. So the conventional wisdom is that means you should set the Kelvin on your camera to 5600 because then they match. However, I have found that if I do that, whether working with my flashes or with my continuous lights, that everything is way too warm. So my advice to you is start at 5000 Kelvin on your camera and take some test shots and see what it looks like. So for me, I'm usually shooting my Godox flashes anywhere from 5000 to 5200. It's rare that I will shoot it at 5600 because everything is very warm if you do that. If I'm shooting with my continuous lights and I use Nan lights, I use Westcott continuous lights, I use Generate continuous lights, I'm going to start at 4800 Kelvin and I'm going to tweak it from there. Number 3, wrong exposure will change skin tones. So this is something that took me a while to realize. If my camera is not set properly, if my exposure isn't set properly, if my lights aren't set properly, if they're not in the right spot even, then I'm going to get wrong skin tone. For instance, if you're underexposed, people are going to look browner and warmer than they actually are. If your light's too far away from your subject, people are going to look underexposed and flat and brown in the skin. It's not going to be lifelike. So one of the biggest things you need to do is you need to get the exposure correct. Not just the exposure, but again, in a studio setting, you got to get the lights in the right place. Number 4, calibrate your monitor. So this is an easy one. You can get these tools from B&H Photo or from any other camera store that is like a little device you plug into your computer and you put it on the monitor. It takes about 5 minutes and it calibrates your monitor. So what that's doing is it's making sure that the colors on your monitor match the true colors that you're seeing when you take the picture. And this is a simple way to see very clearly where your color is off. What I like to do is I shoot into my calibrated monitor, I edit my photos, and then I'll airdrop them to my iPhone and I will double check on my iPhone what they look like. So I find that an iPhone screen, for 2 reasons, is a great place to double check. Number 1, then you're just looking at a separate monitor. So it's not just everything on your calibrated monitor, but you're looking at it on a different screen so you can see if there's any variation there. Almost every one of your clients is going to open the photos on their phone, and many of us, or a lot of us, have iPhones. And so you're going to see it on the phone first. So I want to make sure when they open the photos, it looks good on their phone. Now, I've used some Android phones in the past. I don't think it works as well with them. I feel like the Apple phone screen is a little bit more true to proper color and also contrast. However, whatever your phone is, that's a way you can quickly double check it and dial it in. You must account for individual skin tones. So here's the issue. Let's say you're on location shooting 40 or 50 people in a corporate headshot event. If you just set all your settings and leave them, you're going to have people who are underexposed and people who are overexposed. And as I mentioned, that's going to lead to color casts and all this stuff you don't want. Because each individual, of course, has a different skin tone. Some people are very fair, some people are medium, some people are dark skinned, some people have olive skin complexion, some people have a pinker skin complexion. So the problem is that you need to start looking at individual faces as they arrive in front of your camera. Here's my advice here. Just use a setup until you really understand it well. So for instance, if you're new, take a simple setup like clamshell light, and just use that over and over until you really dial it in and you feel good about, okay, I know I set this up, here's the distances, here's the lens settings I use, and it looks good. Because then what happens is if you're taking a bunch of people in a row, or even if you're just doing a different person in your studio, you're going to be able to slightly tweak adjustments instead of thinking, oh no, I have to start from scratch. So here's what I do. If I'm on location, for instance, and I'm taking a bunch of headshots, then I'm just going to tweak very little for the different skin tones. So for instance, if I get someone very fair in front of my camera, I might need to stop down my lens, a stop or a half a stop. Not a lot though, just a little bit of a tweak. If I get someone with very dark skin tones, then I might have to open it up a little bit. So I'll leave everything else the same, and I'll just tweak either my aperture or sometimes the ISO. I'll tweak it a little bit to adjust for the different skin tones, because you want to be able to provide not just good color, but also properly exposed skin tones. And I know that this is something that people with very fair skin or people with very dark skin struggle with in photos, and why they don't like a lot of photographers' photos of them is because they either look super washed out or they look underexposed. So at the end of the day, you have to just account for the individual in front of you, use your eye. And now this is where it becomes part art and part science. I find that in photography, a lot of people want you to just give me the settings, right? Like, what settings do I use? Well, I hate to break it to you, but there are no settings that are going to be perfect for every single situation. There's too many variables. However, if you get that baseline setting sort of proper, like we talked about today with white balance, and then if you have your exposure dialed in, and it's kind of dialed in here, then it's a matter of a small tweak depending on the person's skin tones, and not, oh God, I got to reinvent the wheel now and I got to start from scratch. That's the way that I do it. It works for me. Hopefully it'll work for you. And if you've made it this far in this video, go ahead and check out my links below. I do run a portrait community. If you want to learn more from me directly, you can check out the information about that. Definitely, if you're going to buy some gear, go to B&H. They've been a sponsor of mine for a long time now. They're really good people. They treat the small creators like me really well, so buy from B&H, and I have Amazon links there if you rather support our corporate overlords. And also check out the other links there. If you have any questions or comments, drop me a line, and here's wishing an awesome day. Go ahead, take some great pictures. That's all that really matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.